Meeting called to order. Let's see. Good afternoon. This is Gail Charette, and I'm calling this meeting of the Yarmouth Commission on Disability. 3:08 p.m. Sarah will now read the open minute.
Okie dokie. This is to formally advise that as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, as extended by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, the Yarmouth Commission on Disability will hold a public meeting on Thursday, December 14, 2023, at 3:00 p.m. at Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided on the agenda. Meeting ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. Our chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. If you are participating remotely, please remember to unmute your microphone and face the microphone on your computer when you are recognized to speak so that you can be heard clearly. If we have other people join, I'll ask you to mute the mic on the Zoom app, but Evelyn, I think if it's just you on the remote, we're fine to leave you unmuted, even if you're not speaking. When a participant wishes to interject a question or comment, please wave your hand either physically or remotely and ask to be recognized. We will now proceed with the meeting.
As a preliminary matter, I will confirm for the record members of the staff present and they can hear me. Members will have 1 minute, please inform the permanent for here present. Drew Kraus.
Present.
Jessica Simmons.
Present.
Mary Vilbon.
Present.
And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Sarah O'Reilly, Director of Human Resources.
Present. Just for the record, we have Jean Boyle and Dr. Arnold that are not currently in attendance.
That's the motion to accept the November 9. I'm waiting on the.
I move we accept the December 9 minutes.
November 9.
November.
Waiting on a motion from the floor on the minutes for November 9.
You had a motion
I
from
did.
Drew
Okay.
and a second from Mary.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any discussions? Okay, the only thing I'd like to do, if I may, is to clarify that when I talked to Gretchen Fallon, I had mentioned that she could come to the January meeting if she would like. And when I spoke to her in December, she told me that she would be busy for January, that meeting. So she will let me know at a later date. Other than that, everything looks good. So we're going to take a vote on it. Gail Charette, if you approve it, let's approve it. Gail Charette, chair, yes. Drew Kraus,
Yes.
Jessica Simmons,
I have to abstain because I was not present, correct?
You're not required to abstain, but you can choose to do so.
Well, I have read them, so yes.
okay, and Mary Vilbon.
Yes.
Thank you. Donna was going to speak on Quest Lab. And since she's not here right now, we're going to hold it off until she gets here. So we can continue with, fortunately, we have 2 left, Shields. Sarah would like to take that, please.
Yes, so we heard from the facilities director at Shields that the walkway repairs have been completed as of the weekend of December, the first weekend in December. This was received on December 4th, saying that they've been completed.
Great,
Is that the one on Hyannis line?
yes.
That has not been
Which one?
repaired?
No, the one on, one that's,
But that has not been completed because I was just there yesterday morning.
So the Shields Yarmouth
oh, it's not
location,
completed.
he let us know on December 4th that the Shields Yarmouth location walk repairs have been completed.
Just saying they're not.
then I think we should just keep it open.
The only reason why I'm saying that they're not is when I went in there, the ramp is up. But none of the railings are up. It's all caution tape.
Oh, yeah, no.
When was that?
Yesterday morning, I went at 6:30 in the morning for an
I wonder
MRI.
why he would have emailed.
Probably because the ramp was done, but all the railing and fencing is all against the building and yellow tape is up.
Yeah, that's definitely not
Yeah.
completed.
So you went there yesterday for your own
Yeah. I had it
reasons
personally.
and you saw it wasn't complete.
Correct.
I'll let the building department know,
All right, so.
because that's who they emailed was the building department.
I mean, it definitely was under construction. But it
Yeah.
was not complete.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let them know. Thank
Okay, so
you.
we'll, thank you. Yeah, we'll keep that
That's-
open then.
Kind of strange.
And, yeah, and Sharkies. I don't know what to do about that
Well,
one.
I just don't know who owns the building, but I'm not, like, I'm reaching out to somebody who I think owns the building and they're not responding.
What's
to me.
what's in the front of that building? Is
So
there-
I think Scally's is the other restaurant, so it's Scally's and then Sharky's. So I believe Angie owns the building. But I haven't gone on the website, the assessor's website or anything to see who owns
Well,
it.
they're closed now anyway.
Sharky's is.
Yeah, so we'll just keep it open and revisit in the spring. And then probably should go inside the building and ask them.
I was gonna say, if Drew and Jean have that, well, actually, Sarah, even I have that. We could just look it up by address and actually. see who-
Right.
What corporation owns it.
Right.
And then just send them a letter. Yeah.
So, all right, so why don't I do that? I'll look on that list that we just did the mailing.
And so your follow-up is to find the owner from that same list that we mailed out
Correct.
and send a separate missive
Yep,
to those people about this.
correct.
What is the issue? Just in a sentence for them.
So they don't have if I remember, the signage that is required for ADA.
Parking.
They have the parking space, but not the signage.
Okay, its parking isn't totally up to snuff.
Correct.
And they could even put a sign on the building.
Yeah.
Just to,
Okay. By that list, yeah.
So the next on the agenda is the CAM CAM initiative. And Drew, I'd like to give you these. You may want to pass them off to everybody.
So Jean and Gail and I did stuff to come up with the initiative for this survey of buildings. And
Is it fun?
Gail and Jean developed a draft letter to send to people about this. And what's the other thing we have? We also have the list of, we have this.
The list of the town buildings.
Yeah, I made extra copies for everybody if they want to take them. Okay. So we have the letter. We have the action.
Did you
plan.
take a letter, Drew?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna pass these. I'm gonna give you one and pass them.
Gail, I'm thinking about wanting to simplify the letter some,
Yeah, that's fine. This is
Yeah.
just an idea.
right? This is like a,
That's why I reached out to you guys and.
right. Yeah, okay, so this list of, what is this?
Can you pass the list around? That's a list of the town-owned buildings. You have multiple copies there, so you need
Yeah.
to take one and pass them around. Okay.
Don't panic, anybody. There's 2 pages. I'm not sure what I got here. I don't quite get it. How it's been presented to me, yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Just figuring it out.
I thought we have this, and number 2. These here.
This is your action plan. This is the action.
This is the.
And
town buildings. Town-owned buildings.
That's page 1 of 2. Is there something on the back there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the back page.
There's 1 page.
And then there's the letter. You get the letter? Everybody get a letter? Yep. And then the last one is the, just an idea of an EDA survey that sample, so that when you're doing the reports.
I don't think we got that.
I believe I.
I don't
Oh, you
see a
did.
copy of that.
Yeah, we can pass it.
Anyway, our idea was to, now we all have a list of all the town-owned properties. That's kind of neat, huh? It's on the front and back of one page, right? And then we have another page that says the action plan.
That's something different.
What is?
The action plan or no?
The action plan is something that
Oh.
we,
Kind of a timeline.
Well, it's kind of what I set up and then you guys filled it in.
kind of
with
what you
your
set up
process.
and Gene and.
Got it.
Yeah, set up. And so we have number one, create a list. We did that. Number two, prioritize the list of town properties. Anyway,
So. Can I interject something? Is it all right?
what do you want to interject?
Well, I just want to go into what Jean had mentioned about the survey, the buildings.
Yeah,
Is you folks had decided to take the second week of January to start doing this, and you were going to complete it by May 30th. And the whole idea is to be consistent with the 5 different surveys. Mary had signed, right? Mary, you had said that. And then to generate a report, complete that by June 12th. And the findings from the survey, you get that checklist, which is something that I don't have a copy of. But the checklist has to do with going to the buildings. There's certain parameters that have to be met. And then the last thing is provide a report to YCOD members, the town administrator, and Board of Selectmen. Is there anyone else? Should it be the building inspector too? I didn't know.
I think that we would start with the YCOD and town admin,
Yeah.
leave it at that.
And
And
not
let
the-
those
not-
people
And not the
then,
Board of Selectmen.
or let the
Okay,
town
just-
administrator determine
Yeah,
what the next.
okay,
steps
so we
are.
can scratch out the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then we're gonna need more people, for the next phase, which is gonna take place I guess in June, and that's gonna be surveying the parks, the beaches, the golf course buildings. And I think that Jean wanted to do some kind of run of like a mini camp session for members and see if we can get some new members to help with this project as well. And again, the same process takes place. And so that she want to do like sometime in April, would do like a little mini thing. They can explain what they're doing and get the checklist going. And I think Jean, because she is certified, she can attend. And I heard that you're certified as well, which is awesome. So that's cool. And then again, they take care of the rest of the buildings and you generate a report till it's finished. The second part of it is the survey action. The survey date and the time, those are the ones that have been appointed. And then by whom, and then the date it was completed. So Mary, you're the pro on this. Is there anything that we need to put?
Lester, the second,
This other page, the next page,
oh, the list.
survey.
Yeah.
by
Oh.
town.
Hey, Donna.
Oh. I see.
Maybe that the findings are. I mean, even though you did the walkthrough. You're doing the survey, right? From what I'm understanding is you're gonna, so Drew, I'm just giving an example. Drew, so Jean and Drew. They do the walkthrough, right? They
Get it.
document their
And
findings.
then the
Then
second
to,
part is one of the findings.
well, or you, so is there like a written report or is it just a
Yes.
checklist that's done? I'm not familiar with how you do the
All I know so far is there's like, you know something about this too, because you went through that training. Jean went through the community access monitor training. She has a whole book that Mod gave her about them.
Yep.
And a detailed checklist of what to check when you go in the building.
Okay.
That includes these areas that are mentioned here.
Right, the
Overall accessibility, elevators, counter height, restrooms, parking.
So then is there,
Then, I think you can just write I don't know of a form for it.
Yeah, I don't remember
Summary?
seeing a summary would
I
be.
think you can make your
appropriate.
own, summary of your findings that you then distribute. The thing about the suggested report was, oriented towards businesses rather than these town-owned buildings, so it's a little bit different. But there was an example that you found, Gail, of a.
Yeah, I think
report
Sarah has it.
From another state, a county in another state. It might have been way in Louisiana or something like
Yeah, you could
that.
pass that around then.
And this is an example of a report that was written. And as it happens in this report, everything was fine. That's not really the key point. It just shows you
well, that's what I was wondering.
It's
Is so
like that.
after you do your
Yeah.
checklist,
You make
would
a
you
report
want,
like that.
right, Jean and Drew just to do like a one-page report on
Yes.
each property?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, so you might want to just either add that to this checklist.
I think it's on here already.
It's on the bottom. right
Generate a
there.
review.
Hold on, she's asking, but she was asking on this one. That's why I was like,
No, I was just wondering, right, did you
Oh.
want to add it to that as well?
I would think if this is something that Drew and Jean or you're following,
Jessica.
you would
whoever.
want to say, okay, when I go to that property, I've done the walkthrough. You know, so that there, you've got a check mark for each property,
I get it.
and then here's for the overall plan,
Yep, that makes sense. Okay,
Mhm.
so that everything's consistent. That's the
Right.
only thing. I'm
so the
suggesting.
only thing we have to add then is the survey report. Right, it's completed.
Report complete,
Report
yeah.
complete. Good, okay, I can,
The thing is, when we go in, there is a script or a detailed outline that's given to us that we're gonna follow, check off, and then from that, we can write our little
Right,
report.
and you want that to be, so it's consistent
Right,
property.
And it
so
will
that
be
you don't
consistent,
have a different
yes.
criteria for
right.
each
Now,
building.
the criteria are all laid out.
Can I ask how you prioritize the locations?
How I did it?
Well, I'm
Like-
just curious, and that maybe they're not, I'm just seeing on this letter, there's five selected.
Dean wanted to go
It's a
to the
sample
town hall
report.
first.
Yeah.
And then I asked
Maybe the
her,
most
she told me
topic.
the ones that she wanted to go down the list, and so I just typed it in.
No, it makes sense. It's the ones that are.
These seemed like
probably
the
used
obvious
most.
low hanging fruit, you might say, and yeah, and that's used the most. I hadn't thought of recreation. Oh, that's in your building. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Come on over.
We did talk about it. I forgot. That's in your building.
Anytime.
You think we'll find a lot of things to,
Well, for someone with a disability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
Where I see a real problem and, you know, because there's a lot of information. I mean, like ADA parking, you know, that's just one portion of it, right? But it's really extensive. I mean, you know, a lot of things you have to do. So like the bathroom, there's a lot of stuff, the grab rails, the toilet has to be a certain height, things of this nature. Jean reached out to Maud several times, thinking that, you know, there should be, I looked everywhere, there should be some kind of a list where everything is so precise.
Check it.
Yeah, like, you know, so we might have to generate that. And that would take some people. So if we all could take one aspect of it, I think we can get it done and we could help everybody, you know, because for the members to go out and do all this stuff, it's very time consuming. That's why they pay people to do this that are professionals.
But you also want it to be consistent.
Well, yeah, we're gonna be consistent, but we have to like extrapolate all the information and then we have to, you know, bring it down to a level where it makes sense. So I can come up with something for the first round.
They must have something.
I was thinking-
Whoa, hang on, whoa. Now, here's the thing. I went to Jean's house and this is getting way. She has stuff from that community access monitor training. Yeah, I guess I'll just say CAM from now on. And that includes a detailed checklist of exactly what you're supposed to check for. It's
Okay.
printed. I have a copy of it.
I do too.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Wheel.
No,
And
I'm
the
not.
problem is what? What is the problem? Why don't we just use
Okay, let me
that?
ask you this question.
Is it too complex? Is that what you're saying?
Let me just ask this question. Have you developed the checklist? Have you extrapolated all the information from all the
Haven't.
different?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
There's a checklist.
Go for it. Go for it. You'll see what I'm talking about.
What? What are you talking about? Is it too complex? Is that what you're
I
saying?
would say that it gets very confusing. There is a way of bringing it good.
You want to simplify it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying to reinvent the wheel. I'm saying to look at it. and
Yes.
Then take each section and say, okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this, like this, like if you do 5 things on the, right? You know, the grab rail, the toilet height, this and that and everything else. Take certain sections of it. Only because it's gonna, something may fail. If it doesn't, then you go into the next phase because it gets very, very
I
confusing.
can't
should
follow
have
what you're
brought-
saying. You're saying that it's too complicated. You may be right. I haven't looked at it in detail. Is that what you're saying? It's too complex?
Yes, it is. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
That's what I wanted to
Don't
get
you,
at.
you've taken the course.
It's a lot of
you.
information. There are,
No, the actual checklist. Have you ever done this thing?
I
I
have
have
not
never done it.
actually gone through the actual checklist. No,
Yeah. Well, Jean did complain that she thought that she said, I could have sworn there was a simplified checklist somewhere, but I
don't
can't
remember
find
seeing
it.
that.
Sarah.
But
I took the community access monitoring training and I wasn't able to upload any of their materials. So he sent them all to me on a thumb drive. So I have
good.
that
So you
in my
may, you might
possession.
have what she's, but
Yeah, so if there's something we need electronically, I probably.
Good,
I
then you know what,
probably-
then yeah, then we could look at that and then we can just go
Yeah.
from there. That would make a lot of sense because taking it from the. book
And
then
or
trying
if you
to-
want to make, edits to it.
Exactly,
do
okay.
that, you
yeah.
know.
there are a
'Cause-
lot of different measurements.
Because you
in there.
found that to
Yeah.
be very,
Yeah,
right,
it's a
it can
lot.
get very.
Oh, there's a lot to it for
Exactly,
sure.
exactly, it's not,
I mean, that's.
I
part
just
of
find
my-
this like, whatever, we'll be all right. This can't be like rocket science,
It's not rocket science.
We can measure things,
I think
Right.
we assign them as a committee, do one building,
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Exactly.
Or
And
it-
after that, then maybe we get involved because you need some input.
I know that
But I
Jean
think to
complained that there
begin
was
with,
some kind of a
Like a
simplified
trial.
thing that she didn't
yeah,
have.
that's
so
why we're
maybe
doing
that-
one
Yeah,
building
we
at a
can-
time.
Yeah. we can.
Yeah, yeah.
But she gave me this checklist. It's like this thick,
So I
pages.
agree with
I didn't really
Donna,
read
for
it.
what it's worth. I think that we've got to just let them loose and let trust that they will
Maybe it's too hard for us. Maybe you're
do
right.
it.
yeah.
And then
I don't-
if they
yeah.
can come back and if they need to engage the group for something.
Okay, good, that
then
sounds fine
they
with
do it.
me.
Yeah.
Good.
And I also
You
think
have to duplicate it for the next round,
just
because you're not gonna
schedule,
do all of the buildings.
schedule it at a time where there's not a lot of people in the building. and It's just easy for you.
Well,
guys.
that's the thing that I was I was thinking about in terms of this letter. Maybe could we possibly simplify this? Just for these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
What do you want to simplify?
buildings. Well, not have this chart about the appointments and stuff like
That,
we,
that is only because of today. So you can see the whole visual thing, because Jean does not
Right.
want all this. She already told me.
right, that's what I was thinking
Yeah,
too.
right. This is just so that you know,
In other words, Jean and I and Sarah and Mary and everybody can contact personally the people that are in charge of these buildings, right? Sort of, and work out a time between us that's mutually convenient.
Yeah,
Does that make
with the
sense to you?
individual
That's all I was
leader
saying.
at the, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And so you had that chart there just to show, which makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
But
So
you
Jean
want us-
did say that to you?
yes, she did.
I know she was,
Yeah, and
I
I
knew
didn't
she
want
was
to, I
thinking
didn't
that.
want to create 5 of these, so I just
Exactly.
threw it all together.
no, I'm with you on that. I'm not gonna buck
So-
on everything.
This
And the-
appointment chart is for what works best for all of us as a commission to meet. This isn't for the buildings committee.
They're gonna take that part out of the letter
I
and
think
then
we
it's gonna
should-
be for them.
They're gonna sign
So,
it.
Jessica, I don't think you were here last time,
I will
right?
Yeah.
not.
So the concept was that if, we're kind of like asking businesses, right? We sent that big mailing out and we're saying, you know, these are what it takes to become
ADA
compliant,
compliant.
fully ADA, right? And, but the point was made that the town buildings probably aren't in the best of compliance. They meet compliance as a minimum from when the day they were built and all that kind of stuff, but there's probably things that the town could do to update that. And there may even be grants available that would help with that, right? So we decided we needed to start somewhere with identifying where the town is lacking, because we too are a town business, and set the stage for what we're asking other people to do. And Jean has this training, and Drew offered to be the hands and the
Be her assistant.
person, you know,
Measure.
doing the
Help
measuring,
physically.
things like
Get it
that.
down to my hands.
Right,
Stuff like that.
exactly. So
Can you get up?
where I can help with this is
Oh,
as,
you know.
as far as like this letter, I mean, I can send it to the appropriate people at each of the departments. So you don't need to like mail them a letter. I can.
No, it's gonna
kind
be
of the-
emailed.
Yeah,
It's emailed,
That makes sense.
but I can be that liaison for
Yeah.
you since, you know,
but we just want something in writing, so that not just a phone call, so it's
Yeah.
very professional. and-
right.
Okay.
Like a backup to a phone call. Maybe.
Yeah.
I just have a strong idea that for the purposes of these particular places, we can personally work out a time to do it.
And the
Like-
focus is on the public spaces in each of these buildings. It's, you're not gonna be like going in
Not
the
in the office.
accounting department or.
no.
In
that-
Sarah's office.
You can come in my office, but it won't really do much good in there.
To arrive at a mutually acceptable time to do one of these
Yeah.
surveys, we have to be able to talk.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I think it's like
email
important for
back and forth.
whoever the leader is in that department to be able to notify the staff
Right.
that you're gonna be doing this, and that they shouldn't be concerned if they see you and Jean, you know, walking around with tape measures and.
Like, how do you see
know.
it working for this building? Because
Well, I need to, first off,
How would
talk
you
to our town
approach it?
administrator, which I have not done.
right, you go to him.
And let him know that this is what we're looking to do.
How would you try to start working at a specific date? Like, just in this case,
Well, in this case, I mean, one of the things that I would also want to do is notify our facilities people, because they're out and about in all the buildings as well, that we're
Okay.
doing this. But the town administrator would be my starting point.
Yeah.
I mean, for this building, you know, I would just say that, you know, you could probably pretty much do it anytime between Monday through Friday.
you think
8
any
to
time of day
4:30.
would be better, like Gene is suggesting, when it's less busy, that sort of thing?
I would avoid a Friday.
Like Mary is suggesting.
I wouldn't
Did
do
say
it
Gene?
Monday
I would-
morning.
Well, actually, this time of year, a Friday afternoon would be fantastic.
Would it?
Because we don't have, it's very quiet around
Okay.
here on a Friday afternoon.
That
If we
makes
were
sense to
talking
me.
summer, I would avoid a Friday afternoon because everybody will be lined up to get beach stickers.
Yeah, Monday.
Thing
Um,
that's in my mind is, I know Gene wants to get started as quickly as possible, right? Like the second week in January. What would be the most efficient way to
I
set a
can
date?
take,
to do
I can assist with that.
You think we could
Yes,
get it
yes,
set up
Yes,
quite quickly
yes,
for this building?
yes. For any of the buildings. I
Okay.
mean, as long as.
Now,
the
could you be the-
teams Need to, I can be the liaison.
For the whole, for this
for the
whole
whole
set
thing,
of buildings?
yes.
Okay.
Good.
This is.
But
good.
I first need to talk to our town administrator.
Right.
And just, you know, like,
And we'd
make
like-
sure that he's,
Would you like to do that
Exactly.
next week and to give him a heads up? or-
yeah,
I know he's got bigger things on his plate and all that. but-
yeah, like the budget. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
you know.
say-
minor-
Yeah, I know this isn't like the single biggest thing, but
Yeah,
it's a real thing and
And it sounds like you're not really gonna have to have an actual appointment.
I don't
Just
think
between certain
so.
hours, you and Jean just show up, you don't need to talk to.
Well,
anyone or do
not
anything?
here, but I mean, I think it depends on, I mean, I think there needs to be somewhat of a point person for each space, like the senior center, as an example. They have a lot more programming going on during the course of a day, so
right.
they're gonna be probably a little
bathrooms would be a
trickier
problem.
as far as like making sure that.
So for
No.
example, I'm involved with an age-friendly committee. and
Mhm.
I'm at the senior center a lot. Would it make sense for me to just approach Diane myself, or would you?
I would
that
say
doesn't make so
not,
much
yeah,
sense.
no, I would, cause I'm in touch with all these people on a
Okay.
regular basis, so.
Right.
I think, let me just talk to the town administrator, and I meet with him on Thursdays, so I'll meet,
Like next
next Thursday, I'll
That-
talk to him.
That seems good to me.
And then, I can just help coordinate, I mean, once we like get, and I'll use this as a model, this letter.
Yeah.
And I can reach out to the individual departments. And, kind of, once I introduce it and say what's going on, then probably what I'll do is like loop you and Jean into the email, right? To say, okay, these are the volunteers that are gonna be actually conducting the survey. Can, let them know, some good times during the weeks that would work for you, and you guys can kind of facilitate a time. Does that make sense?
What do you think, Gail?
I think it's perfect.
Now,
Yeah.
so
I
the
don't think you
letter
need
could
to-
be like a letter that, slightly modified letter could be a backup. Could we send that out by email as like a
I'll
sort of a
email.
reminder? Yeah, right.
I don't think you really need to. I think if y'all use this as a model, let them know what we're planning to do.
Mhm.
And then via email, I'll pull you into the email string and so that you guys can
Okay.
coordinate directly with a time and date that works for everybody. Does that make sense?
It does to me, yeah. Now, so I was thinking, Gail, that as we go along with this, we eventually would go to businesses, right? Inspect businesses, not,
I don't think,
never, ever.
Any part of that one.
no.
Because this is something Jean is very proud of what they did in Barnstable, right? This is,
I would.
Yarmouth
I
is
don't
gonna,
think we did. I
do you remember
think
that? We're talking about that?
Yeah.
Or am I
but
getting this wrong?
I think that's something that's been discussed, but the group here really wanted to be a more educational.
Yeah.
I think
In-
you might, if I can interrupt.
Yeah,
Yes,
You might at one point consider offering it to businesses.
Yeah.
That might accept somebody to come in and help them
that's an
with that.
interesting idea.
yeah.
Instead of saying we're coming.
I just know this is something that's in Jean's mind, I think, based on what they did in
Mhm.
Barnstable. Am I misremembering this?
No,
No, you're
no,
not.
but no. but-
Can you move that little box,
Yeah.
Mary, over there? It's bothering me. Thank you. No,
And I
it's
know
okay.
that it's-
Right in front of the
I
camera.
know you got, I hear what you're saying about businesses and stuff, but I know the other reason I brought it up, because when I looked at the CAM training materials,
Oh, they're
in
very.
there.
that's definitely how it's oriented,
Yeah.
so I think that,
But I also think
Right.
it's just like when we offer educational programs for our
Right.
businesses. It's how you approach it.
right,
Here's a benefit
with
we're offering you.
Yes.
And we could say,
Exactly. That's the
You're
way.
Well,
Concern is that there's a fine line between being helpful and alienating a
Right.
business.
Right.
I'll tell you what happened the other day, the mailing went out, right? And, I think it was last week, I received a phone call from someone, and she said, I'm so-and-so and I'm here with so-and-so, who is the owner of such and such a business. It doesn't really matter who it is specifically. And she said, I'm assuming that maybe she was even this business's attorney, because she was like, she was representing him in some way. And she said, he received this mailing from the Yarmouth Commission on Disability. And, we have what you're at, I want to say it was like a gas station or something, but they had the required parking. And she was like concerned about what it was that we were asking them to do. And I said, well, that is an educational piece. It's to give you information about what the requirements are. And she was like, okay, that makes sense. She didn't know if it was a mailing that went out, like a mass mailing, or if they were specifically being identified as someone who wasn't.
I'm kind of embarrassed, but I can't
compliance.
quite identify the exact mailing that we're talking about.
This is the letter that we sent out with the accessibility requirements just a few weeks ago. It went to all commercial property owners in town.
Yes,
And we included the requirements
right.
of, both for parking and other things that are required under the ADA. But it was in the tone of an educational piece, congratulating them
Right.
for a successful summer
Right.
and, letting them know that these are things that, they should be looking at in order to be sure they're ADA compliant and are welcoming to any potential customers, basically.
Email, one phone call. Chamber and our logo was on it and my name.
I got a few. I got another call I received was from someone who lives in a condo complex. And she was concerned about the fact that she might need to have her toilet be a different height.
Ah,
And because a condominium is considered a commercial property, but she lives in her own condominium, so it really isn't
That doesn't
applicable
qualify.
to her.
Absolutely.
But the way that the assessor's list is coded, a condominium is considered a commercial property, regardless of whether if they're renting it out, they do need to,
They
meet
can
those
adjust it, right.
requirements, but if they're living in it themselves, then that's,
Good.
The good
up
thing
to-
is, no matter what, these people followed up. And they had
Yeah.
good-
so we feel good
So
about it.
you know,
They
we
were-
got out there.
Yeah,
People read
and
the
it's-
letter, People,
right.
right, were concerned.
And
which is
she's,
good.
and I was able to educate her on what it was that we were trying to accomplish. I let her know, I guess it sounded like it was a little bit of the scuttlebug in the complex, so I
Good.
said, feel free to let your fellow, condominium.
Now I want to get the list. And I'm like,
I get, it
Right.
was a condominium, you may be familiar with it, it was a condominium that apparently used to be a hotel, if that helps.
Yep.
And so she thought maybe they were on the list in error because they used to be a hotel, and I actually said I will follow up with the assessors because I didn't know the answer. And they actually are considered a commercial property still, even though they're
condos.
condos.
So did it go to each owner or she just happened to be part of the
It went to
committee or
each
something?
so
So
owner,
she got it.
each
Oh, it did.
property,
It went to
every
each individual
commercial,
person.
yep, every commercial property owner. Yeah.
So
So
each condo got one, not just the condo association.
if they had a different owner, then they received it, yeah. So anyway, I mean, yeah, it was good. It was, there was some questions about it, so I guess people did read it and,
So you feel good about it overall, huh? Based on the responses?
I
You
mean,
you don't feel like we were too aggressive?
there
or
was
something?
no one that was like upset about it. No, there was
See,
no.
that's what I'm embarrassed about. I can't remember the word.
So
of the
it-
You
letter.
didn't get 100.
In my
people
head,
calling.
yeah.
No. Yeah, it was under
Now,
five.
I just so you know, so we sent it out in our newsletter this week and I checked before I came over here and 3 businesses opened it up. It was interesting. The Boy Scout
Camp.
camp,
Greeno?
one of the hotels. The other one was like a really small business. I can't even remember what it was,
Mhm.
but they opened it, they read it, they clicked through it, which was great.
Mhm.
Right, so, and that's 3 people in less than 24 hours, so that's more people will open it, which we usually have a 35% click through, so, which is really good.
See, stuff like this really interests me because I know nothing about it. So
Right.
everything you say, I'm learning something that I didn't know.
Makes us, it's awareness. So now they.
Yeah.
It was, and the letter was very appreciative. Thank you so much for all you do.
So this
for
is a good
those
thing.
that
I have the letter right here.
Perfect.
I have the letter right here.
Well, maybe Drew.
That's what we sent?
That's what we sent.
Yeah.
And then if I can
Because I
just say,
forget what it said.
Other thing that Sarah had suggested for those of you who weren't here last meeting was that the town administration could see what the disability commission is setting for goals. So that's when I do a lot of strategic planning. So I took somewhat what we do at the chamber and just kind of plopped it into this document, right? So that they have a focus area, which was assessing each of the buildings in town. And then I think we had a couple of different other things.
That was very helpful, Mary. Thank you very
So-
much. Yeah.
Then if the town administrator says to Sarah, what's the commission working on? She can actually pull up these working documents that are showing the activity
Yeah.
that we're doing. So that's what we tried to start with this document.
That's good.
So I think if you meet with Bob next week, I think it would. be
Yeah.
good to show him.
Yes.
It's
So,
very
And
good.
it's great because I feel like this commission's been a little bit of a work in progress to get reestablished,
Yeah.
right? And so it's nice to feel like there's some tangible,
That's right.
you know, sort of
That's right, yeah.
takeaways that are
Right.
happening.
I like
So
that very much. It's very organized.
making
Yeah.
progress.
Thanks for showing me that letter.
Good work.
Now I see. I remember.
Good work, team.
Yep.
So,
Team, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
this isn't like, I hope I'm not beating a dead horse, but this whole CAM thing of community access monitoring. It is oriented towards checking out different businesses like restaurants to see if they're.
Mhm.
And I wonder if there is a way to open up to that concept without being nasty or punitive.
and I
about
think
it.
we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I think the group just decided to start with the town building.
Yes, which I strongly supported.
And then
because
I
of-
think we
yeah.
can, and it's all about the time of the year too, right? Like maybe
Right.
next fall and winter is a good
Right.
time to do the businesses when they're closed. I hate
Exactly.
to say it, but
No,
it's
I'm
impossible
with you.
during peak season to
Right.
walk into.
What I find too, what I
Letter, did
found
you
is
read
that the
this?
businesses that we did reach out to, they were very cooperative.
Right.
Very cooperative. So, you know, it's the way you approach it. You
Yeah.
Approach
And
it.
that's their consumers.
Exactly.
And that's the way this CAM training is oriented, to be very, very friendly about it. 'Cause
Right.
This is a positive. And that's
And
what
I
they have,
think-
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say too, that tax incentive
Thank
that Gail found.
oh, yeah,
I mean, that could be
That's
a
right.
lead in to a conversation too, to say, hey, you know, we want to educate you about this tax incentive that could be an opportunity for you to become more accessible. Would you like us to assist you with
Well.
doing a survey, you know,
Well,
to
and I was
determine?
gonna say, so again, the chamber does educational workshops.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times we just do them hybrid, right? You can either come in person or you can be on Zoom. And we could actually facilitate a 1 hour workshop on, have a taxes, accountant come in. And share that. And so then the businesses that can't be there, we usually record it. Have it on our website and then people can access it after the fact. So, and that could be something you even put on our webpage.
Yeah, because as a business owner, a previous business owner, that's one of the biggest things, assets. is like, you know,
Everybody's looking for.
Exactly. And if you qualify, because some businesses won't qualify. You know, but if you qualify, that's a bonus,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. And you could be educating other accountants
Right.
that don't, that's out there.
That's right. So it's just
My
that-
husband hadn't seen it before.
Right, that's what I remember. So.
But he'd probably be happy to lead
There
a
you go,
seminar
see?
at some point.
interesting. Yeah.
Oh.
So Jessica, you took this CAM training.
Yep.
And you're a certified CAM.
I am,
Would you be willing at any point to go out and,
of course.
right, as
Yeah.
nothing definite yet, but maybe one of these things.
A good heads up and.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Have you ever done it before? Or this be your maiden
Um,
voyage? I've never done it, obviously. I didn't even take the training.
We did do, what was it, last year, we did some vaccine access assessing, so all
And
of the
what kind of places were they at?
CVS, Walgreens, places like, actually, there was a
Okay,
vaccine access site at Four Cs, but I do believe that we weren't actually allowed to go in there for some.
so you went
reason or
into
other.
several
Yep,
pharmacies.
to make sure that they were actually accessible for.
And did you follow a printed checklist that was given you?
The
or-
checklist, no.
No,
It was actually my direct supervisor, Kathy, who had all of that info, and she's
and it was
been doing this
specific
for
to
so long that
vaccine.
she
Right.
knows.
Yeah, it's out one.
I could tell her that, okay, this person's deck is 24 inches, and she can tell me exactly what that ramp needs to be.
Mm.
So, we just went with her guidance. But yeah, we have done it.
Did you have tape measures and all
Yep.
that stuff? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, levels, measuring tapes, we have all different
Levels.
equipment, yep.
Right, so, right, I haven't really given this a huge amount of thought, but all the material is there,
Mm-hmm.
and I figured, well, I'll just read
Well,
up on
it's-
it and,
Especially when you're thinking about hearing and vision and
yeah.
it's just not
Yeah,
physical.
There's a
Right.
lot more. But yeah.
I'm reaching into my chat.
So,
So I think we have a,
did you do
what were you
that?
gonna say, Jessica?
No, actually, I was gonna
you.
ask Gail a question.
Oh, yes.
Her and I have to head out in about 10 minutes, so do
Okay.
you wanna jump ahead real quick to the ADRC?
Oh, yes.
Before
That'd be-
we head
oh,
out?
That'd be awesome. Okay, here you go.
Did I put the initials in the wrong order?
ADRC is the
No, I
correct,
did. I think I did too. That's another thing I wanted to say, ADRC, right?
what is it?
It's the ADRC. Aging and Disability.
I'm gonna
Resource
pass this over to you,
Consortium.
Jessica.
And I always say that word wrong, I'm so sorry.
Which
Consortium?
Consortium.
It's a pretty word, isn't it? Consortium.
I can't spell it, but I can say it.
Consortium. I think.
Yeah, I mess that word up every single time.
AG.
So ADRC, it's Court and Elder Services. We are the ADRC, so we work with elder services to help people over the age of 65 and with disabilities transition out of nursing homes and back into the
Oh.
community. That's largely our part of it. And together we are having a legislative breakfast in February. It is February 9th. We will have state reps there. And all of our state representatives have subjects that they're going to be speaking on. I don't have an agenda as of yet. As soon as I have it, I can send it out. So Gail got the invite and she called me the other day to ask me, it is an opportunity for the community to have direct access to representatives. And when they are done speaking on, some of the subjects that they're talking about, you have the opportunity to ask questions. And a lot of them, I know that like Representative Chris Flanagan is big on the housing piece of it, so he'll probably be speaking about housing. So we're trying to have our consumers be there. Disability Commission would be great if we could all be there. But yeah, it's just like I said, the opportunity to have direct access to them, ask them questions, any kind of bills that are trying to be passed or going into legislation.
Where
Forget
is
the
it?
date.
It is February 9th, and where it's at not the courtyard, Doubletree in Hyannis.
Oh, okay.
I can send everybody an invitation. I'll forward that to all of
Yeah.
you.
So that would,
And then you have to respond by January.
The
What
26th,
What time is it at?
9:30 to 11:30.
So you're having all the state reps from across. the
And there's no
Cape,
charge.
the Entire Cape, or is it?
Again, I don't have an agenda yet. I'm not sure exactly who's
who's getting
attending.
Invited?
Yeah.
Okay.
We tried to do this last year as well. I think they ended up having this at Family Table Collaborative.
So, yeah,
they have a
and the
legislative
chambers,
breakfast.
so the mid-chambers,
Mhm.
mid-Cape chambers, we have the legislative breakfast and we usually do it in May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we just, it's business oriented. But we just invite the mid-Cape delegation. We don't invite the entire.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the entire Cape or just certain districts. But this is more geared towards, some of the consumers that we work with.
Right.
To be able to,
This is specifically about helping people who are in nursing homes get back to.
that's what CORE does as part
That's
of the.
CORE's thing.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
our role as part of the ADRC is transitions. Yeah.
And the transition could be that. That's kind of an upbeat transition, right?
Mhm.
But Court and Elder Services are who's sponsoring this event.
Yes.
So the whole thing will cover a lot more than that specific.
Oh, yes.
I see.
I also have a question. So if we have a thought that we want to ask for legislation on something, right? We can bring that up to them.
How do you mean? Like if you have,
Like if I'd like to have a bill presented.
So usually,
perhaps, I don't know if that would be the time or place to do so.
Oh, because when I spoke to someone else, they said that, yes, you can.
Yeah,
I
but you need
know
to, you
that.
probably need to attend their individual like office hours or something like that,
I
right?
did do that.
Oh, okay.
I do have something in the works. But
I
there
would
was,
say, Gail, so usually for events like,
it's
you
more
have a-
like they telling us, not an.
well, no,
Hmm,
but
ask
usually, they want to mingle with their
right.
constituents. So you'll have time to interact with them. But, if you have a general question,
Okay, yeah, I get it.
then usually they have a public comment question period.
Yeah.
If you guys are doing that.
Yep.
Where you'll be able to go up to the microphone and ask a
Okay.
specific question.
Okay.
But
Not a problem.
usually, like if you have a question for a specific state representative, try to grab them beforehand or
Yeah.
after.
Or even just while you're there, try to set up some sort of
Future meeting.
future meeting,
Well,
yeah.
But their age
Call.
just gonna say call the office.
My thought is
Yeah,
this.
as usual.
My thought is that, I remember you had hired a gal that did not have transportation. And
Mhm.
she almost lost the job, right?
Right.
Luckily, she had relatives that could take her back and forth. I looked everywhere on the Cape. There is no transportation from point A to point B. They can get on a bus, but it only goes so far.
There
Okay,
is
but the
something
bee
now,
bus.
Yeah,
the
you
smart
can-
dart.
Right, she was having a lot of problems with, because you can call or you can pre-schedule it
Mhm.
for like her working hours.
Right, but it's just,
They wouldn't show up. They would,
You're kidding.
You also can't, it also doesn't work well across towns,
right.
town lines.
that was her.
Say-
We
Yeah.
hired
So
someone.
as a disability commission, we want to encourage independence for everyone that, whether you're
We have a
disabled or not.
Coworker who cannot drive due to a visual impairment, and she takes the dart from Hyannis, our door, to her home in Harwich every day, always on time.
It works.
And it-
How long does it take?
Her ride, like how long is she on the bus? 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's,
That's
that
the
part-
Does she have to, and does she have to change buses?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
But,
Cause we hired a guy from Mashpee.
I remember you.
Yeah, and it was it was a part-time position. And he would have been on the bus longer than
Yeah.
he would have been working.
See,
It was
a lot of
he was gonna be 6 hours on the bus.
a lot of times they're just gonna, the legislator is just gonna send you back to CCRTA
Yeah,
and say.
Well,
work
here-
With them because they're the ones that manage the
okay,
transportation.
and Uber in big cities provides the service. They actually have a vehicle that has a lift for those that have,
Right.
wheelchairs.
But that's up to, so Uber is
No, I'm not
contracted.
saying, no, I'm-
Yeah,
But I'm
you're
saying they
saying-
see the need of it. See what I'm saying? They're already seeing the need of it. So, I mean, you could pick somebody up that doesn't need a wheelchair, right? But, other than that, it's very difficult for somebody to help somebody if you don't have.
did
But-
sit on Nantucket's Disability Commission. I sat in on one of their meetings, and together as a commission, they were able to work with one of the cab companies out there to have accessible, I think they have 4 accessible cabs on their fleet that are totally accessible.
This is Nantucket?
Nantucket Disability Commission, yeah.
So I wonder.
I'm hoping that transportation is one of the subjects that they're gonna have at this breakfast.
Well,
'cause it
you know
is-
what we could do? Excuse me. I'm gonna call up a center and make an appointment with Chris Flanagan and just put a bee in his bonnet
That's a good
about
idea.
that. And let's see how we can progress with that. That would be awesome if we could help people that, that would be perfect, then they'll have a job and,
I think you really put
Awesome.
your finger on something. Is there something we can do to help facilitate improvement?
well, we, could,
Transportation
as
for
private
disabled
individuals, we
people.
actually can do something if we wanted to. And form like a coalition, right? But it
Mhm.
would only be for people that really are mobile. Unless you have a van and I don't have a van, with a lift. And I'm not physically able to do that, but, so that's something we can think about, like Bay of Sounds has things that they do, right? And they're doing a great job.
Yeah, there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Also invite CCRTA in and.
That's an
a great
idea.
idea.
That would
They'd
be
come in and
awesome,
talk to the
yes.
Chamber.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, I like that idea.
okay, because that could put their bonnet too, because I think they also get money for that, If you apply to
Every town.
Boston, they give money away. I mean, they have,
Every town pays into
Right.
CCRTA.
so I mean, you're not doing it for nothing. It's actually a business. I mean, if I was young, that would be something that I would be interested in doing,
It's a good idea to invite them.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
learn a
okay,
lot
that is a
maybe
good-
from that.
So Mary, if you want to reach out to them,
Okay.
that's perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. All right. Anything else on that? I'll make I'll email this. Oh,
Thank you.
I took a picture of it on my phone. and I'll just email it that way because otherwise.
It'll work.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is
a good
You go,
you guys
You
there.
gotta run?
Thank you, Jessica.
We have a
And nice-
fundraiser tonight, I know.
I was gonna say, we have an ugly sweater contest.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
think it's awesome.
That's ugly.
Jessica, do you know if the town administrators were invited to legislative breakfast?
I do
Or
not know.
anyone
I can
from
find
the
out.
towns?
Certainly find out and shoot you an email.
Okay,
So many of us do legislative
Before-
breakfast.
yeah.
Yeah.
How many are there of these types of events? A gazillion or?
Like they do.
This is more stuff I don't know.
For
so anything you
businesses,
say.
somebody for senior service, like.
Right.
And before I
And then
forget,
do-
Sarah, would you have a list of
Superintendent.
all
Yeah,
disability commissions on the
has
Cape?
been out
No,
Rank
you
them
can
up
go on the
these.
website though, and it's on there.
to send.
It's on the Mass Commission on the site.
Oh, good.
It's on the
okay.
website. I'll find it.
Yeah, Mark Smith is his name.
Because it'd be awesome, you know?
Like the good things.
Okay,
happen.
good, thank you.
Worse, an
And
election year.
that's,
really wide.
DY superintendent.
DY superintendent, yeah.
Get the list
That's
from that.
next year.
Okay.
Yeah,
And he might not be able to, but I think he'd appreciate
At
getting
least
the
an invite. Yeah,
invitation
absolutely.
and consider it. It's his first year and that's one of his priorities is to get out in the
Mary, we're
community.
gonna postpone the business initiative update
Okay.
because Jean's not here and I figured the two of you could discuss that, because then we'll go right
Sorry,
into. if
messed
you don't
up the
mind.
agenda.
Holidays, you guys.
You as
Yeah.
well.
Nice to meet you.
See you next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
See you next year.
Isn't that crazy?
Those that
Next
weren't
year?
introduced, this is Mackenzie. She
Hi,
is,
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie and I worked together in group homes many years ago.
Yeah.
So I finally got her over into Cord.
Mhm.
Are you both happy with this new
Yes.
arrangement?
Well, I'm on day, but yeah.
That's a good honest answer. How could it be otherwise? right?
July
Everything is
into
day
it,
to day.
Jess.
Actually, don't, but I know. Well, happy holidays, everybody.
Same to you.
To you.
Enjoy your event tonight.
Thank you, you as well. What
Thanks.
do you guys have going on?
We have, it's
Can
our
you sign
holiday
that,
party,
Gail?
So we have.
And just date it today's date.
People know Patty Lloyd from the Cape Cod Chamber.
That sounds familiar.
So she's lived in Yarmouth all her life
Mhm.
and she's retiring from the Cape Cod Chamber after 20 years. And
Yeah.
it is,
Thank you.
Then we were asked to go to,
well, the Cape Cod Chamber.
we're
did-
members of the Cape Cod Chamber.
Right, and so the Yarmouth Chamber, because she's a Yarmouth resident,
So Gail.
so we invited the select board and everything to come tonight, but they're not.
What's
coming.
next?
I really
So,
want to get,
And then they have a scholarship fund for her because Patty's suffering from cancer. So like the chamber's presenting.
We have to
$1,000,
think the meeting,
other
but
groups
we have a
are
hard
presenting.
deadline.
So
yeah,
nice.
what a best one.
So
Okay.
that'll be fun.
Oh, good for her.
I think we're gonna have to start rushing stuff. because we
Yeah, I
a
got
hard
10
deadline.
minutes.
Yeah.
All right,
Bye, guys.
circle back. And we're gonna do the quest diagnostic.
Okay.
And I'm gonna turn it over to Donna.
On a quest.
Best.
You-
Change it after some discussion with Gail.
Detailed report.
So Jean and I went out, we just took a look at what was there. I don't really know who the person was who put the complaint in or whatever. And it does look like they have some issues there. I don't know anything from a legal standpoint, so I also like the letters. It needs to be inviting and that we're observing. Someone in the community asked us. So this was just our findings. So the main entrance has a very high step. Jean herself had a hard time getting in to that.
She
step.
struggled and then got in.
Yeah, she said, I really need a railing, a grab bar or something. They do have signing, step up and stuff like that. And then we looked at the handicap entrance. So the main entrance probably isn't an issue because people could use the handicapped entrance. We were thinking that signing might be good because from where the handicap parking is, you don't actually see the handicap entrance. Once you're right near the main entrance, if you look, you can see the painting on the ground. And it is a tarred pavement ramp that goes up to a wood ramp. And that's actually not too bad now, except that ramp isn't wide enough for anyone to open the door. So we saw someone with a cane who looked like they were gonna fall off and saw them again on the way out. I had Jean go up and show when she opened the door, she's got like an inch of where you step to be able to open the door, because they didn't bring the platform out far enough. So the main request would be if they had a automatic door, that would solve the problem. And if they had better signing at the main entrance, so people didn't get all the way to the main entrance and then realize I can't do that step.
It's so interesting that they're a health facility.
And so I was looking at, in that complex, it's a Sunflower complex.
Yeah.
There are other buildings that it looks like they must have adjusted something, because their doors are flush to the ground, and then they have like a 6-pane window above it. But I don't know how they, when you open that door, what's inside. Because that was one of the things that we said, wow, if that step was just gone and the door came all the way down, could someone really walk level in? But after second thought of thinking that, that really doesn't work, because you're stepping up for a reason.
And if I remember that door, the handicap door
Mhm.
has a horrible lip.
So that was the other thing, that the lip isn't real bad if it's for someone with just a cane. But if it's someone who has a walker maybe, and someone who has a wheelchair that isn't being pushed.
You have to try to get.
You know, I mean, I have to do it with my daughter all the time in different places. It's
But she has.
not much worse than other places, but I say it all the time. Someone, if you were,
But also you have to go in
You
and
can
turn,
do it.
right?
it is a turn, but someone made it sound like it was a far, and it isn't. It's not, it's right there. So we didn't really feel like that turn would be too bad. But you have no room to open the door.
Right.
And then even if you could open the door manually, you're too close to that edge. So, are there any requirements? Cause I don't know, ADA requirements that they have to have a automated door?
Well, this brings me back to this whole community access monitoring information that we have. But frankly, I haven't gone into it in detail, but there are specific regulations about all this stuff, and
So this is a perfect location to do that.
this would be, yes, it is.
So here's kind of the challenge with this. I see where it said something about it's not up to code.
Well, no,
I
I
think
said.
we need
if
to
it
be a
isn't, I
little-
don't know about that. And this was just for Jean and.
This is
Yeah, I
not an
just think-
official document.
No, I understand that. I just think, I'm just pointing out that we want to be a little, careful because we are not an enforcement authority. And businesses, depending upon when they were built,
Mhm.
don't have to be
Grandfathered,
up to today's code.
Right.
So there's the slippery slope, and that's part of why,
Well, that's
kind of
how I
handle
was
these
thinking of
letters
this
a
whole
certain
CAM
way.
thing.
yeah.
There is specific information about all this, and I think the point of the CAM training is to bring a person up to speed on it and have all the regulations at hand. They are not we're not enforcement officers, we're not legal officers at all. But I'll have to really get up to speed on the CAM itself. What?
And I think the letters can be very gentle. The letter could go out and just say, it was brought to our attention by someone in the community and we've reviewed it.
We already did it.
I think,
Yeah.
I
We
think,
already did it.
and it does, and we're sending that to the local Quest, right? We're not sending it to their home office.
Jean had
Well-
mentioned that there's
Well, the
corporate,
other
and who
piece
is
of
the,
this is
who's the
Quest is
landlord?
not the landlord.
Do
They're
we
not the
know
owner.
who the landlord is?
Yeah, they
Good.
actually,
They responded quite quickly.
yeah,
They did.
it through our building department, they had reached out to them previously. And they repaired part of the walkway that had, buckled wood,
Which was a
Um,
hazard, so that.
which was
that had to be
another
done.
hazard,
Right.
right? Whether there has to be a automated door. I'm not sure.
You know, and then one of the other things was, even if, I've seen in places where they have a sign and say, call if you need assistance.
Right.
And someone will come and open the door for you,
Mhm.
whatever.
What's in your mind about this? Like frustrated with the
Oh, I just,
response of?
yeah, I mean,
Just because it's Quest again and again and again.
yeah, because the first thing they should make sure is that their patients can get in.
Mm.
Right, it's just like I went to their, and so I don't want to, but like I went to another one of their offices recently and it's horrendous. It's
You're a little frustrated from that point
from,
of view.
from that.
It seems consistent throughout the company.
I mean, I took one of my staff members to this and she's in her eighties to this other location a couple weeks ago and I watched her and I would just thought, that was my mother.
Hmm.
I think that, that's why I held off on sending a letter,
Mhm.
because I felt that, after I read the reviews, I should have read the reviews first. I did it backwards.
By the reviews, you mean?
People that actually.
Did a review on
review on
Quest.
Quest.
Uh,
And
Like
when I,
through Google or
Google,
something.
right,
yeah.
and when I
Oh, I
read
see.
it, and when I
Just the
read them,
general public that
correct, when
views
I read
Quest.
them, that's when I reached out to
Jane.
Jean and Donna and said, you know what, I need another pair of eyes, because I initially thought what you thought, okay, let's just expand the platform to the left and, you know, somebody can negotiate this and, but then when we got the Shields report and I realized, you know what, some people are not steady on their feet, even if everything is all done properly, somebody still can fall, right? And then I felt like, oh my God, the landlord would say, well, you made that recommendation. So I said, I'm taking that back because I don't think that's a smart thing. I think personally, the only solution would be an automatic door opener. And that's something that we cannot enforce, but we can, you know, just suggest to them and just tell them, you know, like this is, you know.
But I wonder if our approach is a little different where we shouldn't be sending it to the local. Like, we should do a little more homework about Quest as a business.
Right, it's an
Right.
overall
Where-
challenge.
So
Where
and
is it?
Jean has that information a little bit because her daughter works for Quest.
Okay.
So yesterday she was saying, or Tuesday, whenever we met. But I don't know that she has the address or whoever, but sort of to
We could
do a
find- yeah, they're in New-
letter,
they're
then
I think they're
copy
in New
it, that it
York.
goes to
They're
the
either New York or New
landlord
Jersey.
and
They're in New
to.
York and New Jersey, because I looked at it up the first day.
Have somebody here in Massachusetts, like,
Oh.
and again,
Right,
it's
and-
approach, right?
Yeah. It's a pro- And I
You know, we've had a great
believe,
experience with Quest and, you know.
and here's the
we
bottom
continue to
line.
find this findings at this particular location. We're hoping you would help us and, like, again, it's getting
Yeah.
them as part of the.
And the biggest,
Right.
the biggest thing
Really
is the bottom
true.
line. Nobody wants to be sued. Okay, so you're gonna do everything you can to prevent that. And if it means spending a little extra dollars to make sure somebody gets in there safely, especially one of your patients. You know, the.
Yeah, but you don't even.
Yeah, we don't wanna-
No, no, no.
You don't wanna talk
No, 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 I
cost,
would
do we?
never
Yeah.
talk about.
Because that's when the defense.
Yeah.
No, 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 I wouldn't say that, but as a business owner, that's the first thing I always thought about is that I made sure like all my property. All the, you know, the shovel, sand, and even then somebody sued us.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, when you're a corporation like this, they don't even know what's happening.
Right,
Right,
So
right,
it's all, again, go back.
exactly,
everything
I
goes back to
agree.
Educating.
right.
You know,
I mean, I could draft
Yep.
a soft letter, I would call it, and
Okay,
let
I'm gonna-
people look at it
perfect.
and see.
Does the need
I
to be
think we
adjourned
need
at this
to-
moment?
Well,
Need
only if
to-
you're not gonna vote, only if you're gonna vote on it. but-
We're not voting anymore.
Sorry, I just have another event.
Enjoy.
Happy
You are
holidays.
busy,
Happy
successful woman,
holidays.
and you're operating. What are you operating?
I mean, you know,
The treat scale.
yeah, oh, Merry
Mm.
Christmas.
Very nice treat.
Very thoughtful.
In our family, we do this treat and I do it for all of my staff too. I wish we were meeting week later, so I'm making it this weekend, but I make white trash. Have you ever?
Oh, I've
No.
heard of that, yeah.
So it's.
Haven't.
Yeah.
Our family's white trash, but
Mm,
it's just checks and peanuts, but
Right,
everything's.
and then
white
the-
chocolate.
Yeah.
Heard of white chocolate?
Can't go wrong with that, right?
Mhm.
So happy holidays.
Happy
Happy
Oh,
holidays.
Mary, one last thing, honey. March and April, you're taking care of the milestone. Good. Okay,
It's on my whiteboard.
Hi, Evelyn. Thank
Happy
you.
Holidays.
I hope you enjoyed this drama, Evelyn.
I think, congratulate you all on the fact that you're gonna go forward and you're gonna really dig in and do what you have to do to be
There you
able to.
go.
Or the, and you got a lot of background reading to do.
Yes. Yeah, this thing about surveys for ADA, it's dawning on me that they give you all these legal requirements. These cam monitors can go out, can actually find
But
out
it's sort of
if
like the
it's legal
tax
or not.
laws, like you were
Yeah.
saying, there's always an exception. And that's where it gets sticky and where we don't wanna
You
get
don't
business
really-
people up in
Yeah.
their arms.
And then there's that line between the town, like the building department, who is actually an enforcement
Force.
authority
Right.
and. So,
Oh, it is clear that we're not.
Yeah.
enforcing-
But I think coming from us, if it's done gently,
I don't-
there might even be more willing. Rather than, oh, it's another code I have to follow. It's like, oh yeah, people need this. You know, that I don't think people intentionally go out of their way to make it difficult for people.
You don't know.
But I think
very
people
many
who
would do
don't
that.
have a disability or don't have someone have.
Idea.
I even
agree with
put
that. I
myself
followed
with
this.
my own daughter. I always say, okay, this was difficult for me. And her friend who can't get out of a wheelchair no matter what. And I'm thinking, you know, how more difficult it is for the next person. But if I didn't have my own daughter, I'm not thinking
Right.
that. My siblings who are absolutely wonderful go, I didn't even think about that. She can't get in there. You know, and they're thinking about it. They just, it's
Right.
not that,
It's very
that little
true.
lip,
Very
that this,
That's-
you know,
that applies to me.
those very small things
That's why they want
that
people on
hang
the
you up.
disability commission that
That's
has
it.
disabilities.
Yeah.
Because you see that vision,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
There's
But
a
it
good goal
is-
for next year, have somebody on the
Somebody
disability
that was supposed to be
commission
coming
with
here.
some of these specific issues in their own life, you know.
Gentleman
Yeah.
was
Could
gonna
be,
come.
Well, and part of the thing in it that you have to know someone or have a disability. When I
Right.
was reading your stuff in there,
Yeah,
part of the
definitely.
law.
you know, that
That is.
4/5 of the group.
But you
or
can't
something is
just,
supposed To be it.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's kind of
no,
ironic, and I'm gonna
people
just leave it
arrested
with
there.
this. I've been looking at the law with the ADA, right? Nothing is in concrete, everything is like fades off into the sunset. It just makes innuendo. It's like, we can do this, we can do that.
Yeah.
But nobody said, nope, we're gonna have a law that says all medical facilities will have ADA automatic door open. You know,
Right.
so leave it
The
up to the
future,
state.
maybe,
They,
yeah.
well, they leave it up to the state. So
Mm.
that's when we go to the state and we talk to the, you know, like to a Chris and we ask,
And
hey,
we're thankful we live in Massachusetts, because you go to other states.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
not-
It's way ahead of a
it's-
lot of.
Right, we're
exactly.
ahead of
So
it.
we're
but
very
it's tough.
fortunate. So I only have two more things, the milestone, all right? This was done for the January and February one, and your announcement, Donna, fortunately didn't get into the last one, but it's gonna get into this one here. And then we
Thank
just
you.
did a little bit of YCOD membership. I just added that. So that was
good.
basically
That's
it.
always good.
But I wanted to ask the group for future volunteers. We need volunteers who are interested in preparing articles for the coming months. So I'm going to send out an email to everybody.
Do you have a outline of what the articles need to be?
No,
I mean, one of my daughter's friends, her mom's writes, not all the time, but like she's done for
anything that's doing,
Yankee and different magazines.
yeah.
And her daughter is cerebral palsy, fully disabled, so I don't know what type of articles they're looking for, but she might be
We create our
able
own.
to write something that would,
Space might be really at a premium though, right? In the magazine.
Well,
right, so do we
keep it
only
down.
need
Yeah.
a
keep it-
paragraph or
Yeah.
how
yeah.
many words? You could give her a limit. I don't,
Yeah.
know, just thinking.
Well, you
she-
know what I'll do? I'll send you a format that we use, the CAM, right?
Yeah.
And then if you want to look at the previous milestones, they're on the
Into
internet.
that, yeah,
Yep,
Okay.
at the
Senior
WWC.
Center.
Senior Center.
The senior
page,
center,
Senior
yeah.
Center page, yeah.
Yeah. And you could read them over what we've done, okay?
Okay.
We're always looking for articles. I mean, there's only been a handful of us that have been doing this, and I think it's important that other people get involved, so there's other different perspectives. That's what I'm saying.
Mm,
So I'd like to get everybody involved. They can pick something and,
Well, look at it, I'm not sure.
Jeff, one more thing?
and let's see. Oh, that's it.
Okay. Pretty good.
Did you
ran-
want to entertain a motion to
Yes.
adjourn?
Yes. yes,
I
yes.
move we adjourn the meeting.
And.
Second it.
We don't have a forum. We don't have a quorum.
Let's
Well,
adjourn
we're,
anyway.
we're
Okay.
not staying till January.
Yes.
There's two kinds of.
True.
Yes.
22.
Yes.
We're-
Yes.
Okay,
Now say the meeting is adjourned.
meeting is now adjourned.
Now. I
Thank
can
you.
relax.
Thank you.
Happy holidays,
Happy
Evelyn.
holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays,
I
everyone.
hope we provided you with good entertainment and inspiration. You're looking pretty,
Definitely.
You look
Definitely.
great, Evelyn.
good.